welcome to the Happy Rant podcast. I am Ted Cluck, joined as always in studio by Barnabas Piper and Ronald J. Martin. And boys, we have much to discuss today, including voting, politics, the sexiest men in Reformedom, and another kooky idea about church, Church Home Gobal, which I can't wait to suss out with you boys. But before we get into this, Piper, tell us about Noah's events venues.
Yeah, for listeners who've been around for, I don't know, the last 8 or so weeks, you've heard plenty about this, so you can, you know the spiel. For those who are new, though, Noah Event Venue is they're a venue company, so they own facilities in all the major metro areas around the country, and they have a specific setup for churches who are looking to relocate, to expand, to start a new campus, whose leases run out in whatever building they are, kind of whatever the need is. And it's really a full service thing. So all the audiovisual needs, all the classroom needs, kitchen needs, parking needs, all that stuff is built into this. So it's kind of a one price thing. They're really nice facilities, but also sort of middle of the road. So you can dress them up as traditional as you want, or as yuppie as you want, or as hipster as you want. You could hang, you could hang ferns on the wall. You could put busts of John Calvin in the back corner. You could do anything you wanted, a la Sojourn. Or you could hang large banners with calligraphy on the wall, as some churches like to do. Whatever your taste is, you can deck these out that way.
Deck these out in whatever your taste is, and we'll be sure to make fun of it. So
yeah, there you go. That's a given. Of now, they're very hard to make fun of because they're just classy, clean, nice places. So whatever you choose to do with it, we will mock. If you go to noaheventvenue.com/church, you can find out more about that. They have them in, I think it's 20 or 30 states. So a lot of places across the country. So if your church is looking to relocate or is growing, check out noaheventvenue.com/church and figure out how to work with them to find a new meeting place.
Piper, doggone it, you made me nostalgic, man, by talking about the moss on the wall and the John Calvin bust in the corner. It made me wonder, when are we doing another Live in Louis, baby? Do we have anything to tease in that regard, or do we need more high-level corporate business meetings to suss out when that's going to be?
We are in discussions for a spring event in Indianapolis in conjunction with the Gospel Coalition National Conference. So it'll be a different city this time, but in conjunction with one of our favorite events from one of our favorite organizations who they provide more fodder for us than anybody, I think. So it only makes sense that we would take the event to them. So it would be April, assuming we can get all the details pinned down. Ron is in negotiations on some pieces of that. So hopefully after the holidays, we'll have more firm details.
Live in Indy, boys. That's exciting. Hey, what are the odds do you think we could get TGC's resident elitist Brett McCracken to be in the building for that event?
We could do like a Mystery Science Theater 3000 with Terrence Malick films, and I bet that would draw him in.
I love it, man. We just need to screen a Terry Malick. By the way, Terry Malick is a lovely man. I don't know if you guys knew that. And while we're talking about lovely men, I think this provides a perfect segue into our first topic. So I don't know if you boys caught this, but People Magazine just released its list of the sexiest men alive. And I'm sad to report, this is maybe breaking news. The three of us were omitted from the list. None of us made the list of People's Sexiest Men Alive, which I think is just a grave omission. Not that I care about things like that. Of course,
it's like they don't know how to define the words sexiest or man or alive. How else could we be left off?
Dude, exactly. They must be really confused in their offices. So our hearts and thoughts go out to the good people at People Magazine who put this list together. But boys, the release of this list made me think, what if there was a sexiest men in Reformedom list? What would that look like? How would someone get on that? What would the criteria be? And by way of conclusion, who would be on it? Who's going to be on the sexiest men in Reformedom list? And Big R, as our resident kind of persona expert and fashion expert and diet expert on the program, why don't you kick us off? What
Wow.
What's on the list? What are the criteria, and who makes it?
Well, I mean, let's just clear up one thing right now. This will be quite a different list than Jared C's list from earlier this year.
There were some sexy people on Jared C's list, my friends. I don't have to remind you of that. Specifically, how many people were on the list? 150?
126.
125, although 126 by accident.
No, 125 and 126 are both very sexy gentlemen. But I digress. Ron, walk us through this thing, man. What does this look like? Sexiest man in Reformedom.
I mean, this is really tough because I think, I feel like my mind is swirling now through the A list.
Okay.
And I'm coming up a little dry right now. I mean, it's feeling really, really dry. I'll tell you what, man. I'm gonna throw out something that's gonna get us started with this gig. And so I'm gonna throw out one. He's a worship guy.
Okay.
And not super fashiony, but I'm just going off of the mug appeal. I'm gonna throw out one Mr. Matt Boswell.
Ooh, I don't know Matty Boswell. I don't know. Yeah, I wouldn't know him if you walked into my studio.
I just call him Boz.
Okay, let me look up Matt Boswell. Piper, I want you to respond to this.
He has a suitable sort of like, he's got a little bit of the salt and pepper on the temples, because that's one of the things about the Sexiest Man Alive. As People Magazine never picks the 24-year-old, 28-year-old hunk. It's always the guy he's in his 40s or 50s.
Gotta be a little older. Gotta have some maturity.
Ryan Reynolds won it one year, I think, but it was post 40. Like, it wasn't when he was the young guy from like Van Wilder. It was the later version, like the Deadpool version. So,
dude, look at this guy. Look at Matty Boswell.
Yeah,
I'm looking
Boz
at him
is
right now.
Kind of classic, handsome face. Looks a little Ken Dollish in the face in some ways.
He looks like Chachi from Joni Loves Chachi. You know what I mean? He's got a little like Chachi to him. Matty Boz has this like kind of early 2000s up swoop to the bangs and the hair, like in which he's like 5'11" without the hair, but like 6'4.5" with it.
The crazy thing is he's like 6'2" without the hair and like a solid 6'4.5" with it.
Yeah,
he's like a small forward with the up swoop of the hair for counting that.
I think Bozzy has to be in the running at least if we're going to start throwing names in a hat. You know what I mean?
Bozzy is a sexy gentleman. I'm looking at an album cover that has him like in sort of a distressed jacket, leaning against like a distressed pillar, just kind of looking downward.
He's a Texan as well, so he has a bit of that like. He was sort of going for the rugged ranch vibe. So not like the chic New Yorker. He's going to be more like, splitting logs and roping calves,
bucking out
and stuff
some
like
stalls.
that.
Just totally, man. Because he's a hardcore Texan. Okay, I got one more to add to the list, man. I'm gonna go.
Lay it on.
I'm gonna roll. Next name in the hat is I'm gonna roll out a little Leonce Crump Jr.
Ooh.
I thought of him. My question is he old enough?
I think he's old. I think he's at least 40.
I don't know. Well, let me think. He's pushing it. He's
close. Right
he's 40-ish.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Leonce, I mean, he kind of has that chiseled face, just kind of that, kind of has that real kind of svelte, like handsomeness. I think he fits. I think we can roll with him.
I think he fits too. I think he fits too.
I think that's strong. To go a little bit off the beaten path in terms of sort of a non-classic look, but a distinct look nonetheless. Aaron Ivey is another one.
Okay.
Who ought to be again, another worship guy, which makes sense because the preaching guy's not real strong in the looks or the fashion department.
Ooh, look at Aaron Ivey. We got ourselves a hipster, Pipe.
Oh, but I mean, it's a look, and we
got ourselves a hipster. I love it. Where's this young man from?
He's also from Texas. He's an Austinite.
Oh, of course he is. Look at him. Yeah, definitely an Austinite. Now, Aaron Ivey. I'm looking at these images. We got the sleeve tattoos. We got sort of the like attractive arty wife, the passel of kids. This is good. This is working for me.
And the best thing about all three names that we've listed is that they're all actually exceptionally cool guys to hang out with, which again adds to the vibe of sexy. Like, you can't be sexy if everybody hates you.
So you've hung out with Aaron Ivey, Piper?
I have. Aaron Ivey's awesome. I would consider him a friend. He's a great guy.
I've hung out with Boz. I haven't hung out with the other two guys, but I've always heard really, good things about those other dudes. I'm going to also add.
I've hung out with 0 of these guys. Where are you guys hanging out with these guys at? And why am I not a part of it?
You got to go to these things called conferences, baby. I mean,
Baby, I don't go to conferences.
I know. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to point out. So here's another one in terms of just mid 40s, rugged, just kind of that everyman, kind of look. I'm going to go with J.D. Greer.
Oh yeah, Greer.
Yeah. I mean, he definitely fits. He's got the salt and pepper. He's got the one thing JD doesn't have is any fashion sense at all.
Yeah, and there's some pieces missing. I mean, and it's not, again, there's nothing that like jumps out from JD, but he's like solid. You know what I mean?
If he spent like 30 minutes with Leonce Crump's stylist, he'd probably just be at the top of this list. But instead, he's like untucked, plaid shirt, jeans guy. So
he's kind of like he's like a better looking version of Platty, but he's at the same time he's like a guy that looks like I just shave my head every 2 weeks, throw on the first thing that I find in my closet and get out the door as quickly as possible. But just he was born with a little bit more of a rugged, handsomeness.
Dude, no, Greery, he looks like he's been in the weight room a little bit. He looks like he lifts from time to time.
Absolutely.
Can you confirm or deny this, Piper? Like when you've been in a conference with Greer, is he hitting like the hotel weight room? He's doing
honestly,
a little bench
he
work?
strikes me more the type who has people who are like, where's the local Lifetime Fitness?
Okay, yeah. So he's got that membership that you can kind of
like. He has guns. He does have those guns, though. Yeah.
People like me go to the Hampton Inn gym and use their, the same treadmill that's in every Hampton Inn across the country. People like him stay at the Hilton, not the Hampton Inn, and they go to the local Lifetime Fitness or, whatever it is.
People like him? You mean the president of the SBC, Pipe? I mean, yeah.
I mean people who have people.
Right. That's what I'm talking about.
I don't have people.
I know. I mean, that's...
How do we get people? How does this work? I want people. Actually, I don't want people.
You just ask people to be around you and treat you like something.
I mean, Ronnie's got a people moving to town, and he can ask him to do just about anything shortly.
Jeez.
He's got a personal assistant
that's true.
moving in.
That happened to me 2 weeks ago at Sojourn. I mean, let's be honest, man. It's all over the place for me. I just don't like to talk about it,
Wait, you had people at Sojourn.
I can't really get into it, baby.
Yes, you can. You have to get into it.
I can't really get into it.
Were they people that you brought there? Were they people like? Do you have people in these cities? Because your conference schedule is fairly like regular at this point. Like, do you just have a guy in like Raleigh Durham who acts as your people?
I mean, I don't. It really depends on the town, but I mean, I feel like I can get myself in a place where there's going to be people. But that's such a weird thing for me. It's just after a while, it's like, you know what, man? I mean, I can hold that.
Oh yeah, it's so weird. I could tell you're so broken up about it.
Like
it's so hard.
Like you guys, let me carry that. That's my thing. It's cool. Like I don't have to roll this way. No, you don't have to hold. Don't. I can hold my copy of Girl Wash Your Face. You don't have to do that for me. I mean, I got this.
Girl Wash Your Face. What is that?
Oh, did they give that out at Sojourn? It seemed right up your alley.
No, are you kidding? Are you kidding? Of course they didn't, because TGC wrote an article against it. They would have never given it out. So.
Baby, what's Girl Wash Your Face? It sounds like an after-school special.
Just some book that like everybody started talking about. Oh, I love this book, and then it's
like a Christian living-ish inspirational book for women. It's by the next Jen Hatmaker. So, or like the current Jen Hatmaker who's not named Jen Hatmaker. I don't even know. Maybe
just look it up, and you'll see a girl on the cover, like with water all coming down her face, kind of looking goofy and silly, and like girl, wash your face, that kind of thing.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I need to.
Just trying to throw some pop culture in there for you boys. Just sorry.
Thank you, baby. Thank you for educating us.
I'm trying.
Piper, what do you have people?
No, and I have been at one event where they tried to give me people. Like it was a conference, and they had so they just like had volunteers, and I was like, I don't like having people. It's very strange to have people. I mean, I suppose if it was just sort of your way of life, one could get used to it, that privileged status. But it's a strange thing. No, I don't have people at all. I would like to have handlers sometimes, just when the press of crowds is coming at me because they love the Happy Rant so much, and I need people to carve my way through. But
that's our live events, Pipe. So we have a couple times a year where we do have to deal with that.
No, that's not true. I never want people to defend me from listeners. I like talking to our listeners.
I want to put this out there. So if we're doing this live event in Indy, which we're doing as soon as Ron gets done negotiating these very intricate and complex venue agreements, high level business things, we don't want to bore the audience with it. But provided all that comes through, boys, I would like for some listeners in the greater Indianapolis area to reach out to us to volunteer to be our people for this event. I want people. Last time it was swag. Last time it was sheet cake. This time we're leveling up. I want people. I want humans.
Yeah, so that's like black shirted roadies. That's
roadies.
One or two people who just sort of hover around and do our every women wish. Like Ted wants a Diet Coke. Somebody's like they're sprinting for the Diet, not walking, not hustling, but a dead sprint for said Diet Coke. I don't even know do you drink Diet Coke?
Sure, I'll drink a Diet Coke.
I feel like in the evangelical world, like Diet Coke or Coke Zero is what lackeys are always running off to find.
Sure. Absolutely.
Because nobody drinks their calories. That's why.
Yeah, no, they eat their fried calories.
I don't even want it. I just want to.
But we don't drink our calories ever. That's absurd.
So yeah, I mean, fetching Ronnie his LaCroix and his youthberry tea and whatever else, like that's what we need people for.
Yeah, you're bringing me back to my old school days. So I'm totally comfortable in that space. Totally comfortable. You guys get all quiet and speechless.
No, I was trying to figure out which days you were talking about. Like, was this from your music career days? You had people who fetched you LaCroix?
I mean, when you're at a venue, they have people that do that. So it's not like personal people, but it's always like there's people like that work that are on hand there that they have to do that.
Did you have like a rider that had weird things built in? Like, I expect this to be waiting for me when I show up, those kinds of things. Because I feel like that's something we also need. Like, once we have people, we need to have that as well so that we can test their mettle to see did they
boys, be working on your
the rider carefully.
Yeah, we'd have funny riders. So the problem is, like, technically you're not supposed to have a rider until people ask you to come. And we're at that place where we're still asking people if we can come. So there's the little bit of the rub there.
You know, dude, I gotta. Every system needs to be upset at some point, Ron. We need to be disruptive.
All right,
guys. I got a quick rider story to lay on you, and I don't know if this will truly be like meaningful because I don't feel like I can divulge the name of the gentleman in the story. But so my kids go to a classical school here in the area, and once a year, this classical school does a big fundraising event where they bring in a speaker who's probably, to be honest, like on our level, like about like wherever we are in the pantheon of like evangelical fame or whatever. It's usually some guy who's on that level, but the people of this school think this guy is a big deal, right? So they bring this guy in. They usually book like I don't know, the fellowship hall of the big mega church in town, and this guy came in, and I know this because KK catered the event, and this guy is no further along than us in terms of book publishing and fame, but his rider was ridiculous. I mean, the demands this guy made. He demanded like a special dedicated green room just for him, and a lot of like food and beverage kind of demands. This guy was under the impression that he was like the Beatles, you know, that he was this in-demand rock star with this long rider, and they gave it to him. And the best part and the funniest part to me was that like people were scurrying around, sort of trying to cater to his every whim, and I just thought it was wonderful in terms of how funny it was. And then he got up and he gave like the kind of boilerplate speech on cultural engagement circa like 2004. It was wow. You know, it was what it was. But
approximately how old was this gentleman?
This gentleman, I don't know how old he was, Piper, but I'll give you a hint about him. He was probably 15 years ago. He was sort of, in terms of aesthetics, very standard boilerplate SBC khakis, regimental bow tie. Wow. And now he's like uber tiny wafy hipster, and he lives in a metro area that isn't Jackson, Tennessee, but may or may not be the sort of.
I may or may not know exactly who you're talking about.
Yeah, I think you do.
We always have off-air discussions for this kind of stuff.
That's right. We do not gossip publicly. We only do that in private.
Ron's like, let's get back to my rider stuff. I want to think about that some more. I want to reminisce about the good old days. What it was like when I was traveling and being pampered. Oh, wait, that's now. Boys, we have to move on because we can't talk about sexy men all the live long day.
Although somebody's going to stumble.
Yeah, somebody has to vote for somebody.
Dude, who are we voting for in this thing? We got to close the loop on this sexiest.
All right, so
man.
let's run down our finalists again. We've got Leonce, we've got JD, we've got who was the first one you mentioned?
Boz,
and we've got Aaron Ivey.
Yeah. I'm going with the hipster with the family that you've hung out with, Piper. That guy looked pretty cool.
Yeah, I think it's either Ivy or like Leonce in an upset.
Yeah. Oh, I might go with Leonce because he was a football player, and I'm
gonna go with Crump Jr.
All right, it's unanimous. Crump it is.
All right,
with Ivy coming in second.
Leonce. Yep. I'm sure his people will want to know that he's been bestowed this honor. So
the Happy Rant 2018 Sexiest Reformed Man Alive.
Dude, that's right. That's huge news.
We got to send him something in the mail, Big T.
We should send him something. We should send him a trophy. His people will want to commemorate this. This is a big honor.
You heard it here first, listeners. Leonce Crump, 2018 Sexiest Man in Reformedom. It's official.
Maybe we can have one of our listeners come up with some kind of an award. And speaking of listeners, Piper, I'm looking at something you shared with us in the pre-production meeting. It's a graphic. It was created by one of our listeners, a very talented and gifted graphic designer, it looks like, and it's called Bjorn N. Do you gentlemen know the graphic that I'm referencing?
Well, I sent it to you, so I know it.
Yeah, so it's baby versions of the three of us, lashed to the chests of various people who are wearing Bjorns, and I don't know. I think it's delightful. What do you guys think of it?
Rarely does something I am sent make me genuinely laugh out loud, and that one did. I got a real hearty chuckle out of it when it was sent to me.
Yeah, that was nice, man. That was nice. Something that I didn't get as hearty a chuckle out of, but I was equally intrigued by, was a tweet that you sent, Big R, in our pre-production meeting. And I'm just going to read this. Okay, I'm going to read this verbatim. And then I'm going to ask you a couple of follow-up questions, okay? Because I'm super intrigued by this. Here's the tweet. It says this: people have asked, when are you starting a church in Nashville? When will you come to Texas or Boston? Well, ... we just did. I'm so excited to announce our newest location. And this is the part that sounds like irony to me. This is the part that sounds fake. It sounds like it was in a Ben Stiller movie. I'm excited to announce our newest location, Church Home Gobal. Church Home Gobal. The location? ? The phone in the palm of your hand.
What is this, a church for ants? It would have to be at least 3 times that size.
Exactly. It's Church Home Gobal, Piper. The location is the phone in the palm of your hand. And the tweet came from one Judah Smith. Now, I've heard
Judah Smith.
Judah Priest Smith. I've heard the name Judah Smith. I feel like I should know who that is or care about who that is, but I don't.
He's Carl Lentz West.
Oh, he's Carl Lentz West.
Oh, dude, is he really? I didn't know that.
Interesting.
I mean, maybe not quite Carl Lentz. He clearly doesn't have the same lats, but he has the same safety goggles and general. He's got sort of that West Coast hipster, which is a little bit like paler, doughier, just not quite. They're much more like night creatures as opposed to the chic East Coast hipster like Carl Lentz, but they're more or less the same church leader.
No, I love it, dude. I love this. So I'm going to look at some pictures of Judah Smith so that I can get a sense for what you're talking about. But there was another tweet here, which I assume is still Judah Smith talking, although it comes from this gentleman named Derek Rishmawi. But I assume he was quoting Judah Smith. Am I right about that, Big R?
Yeah, he's sort of saying this is ridiculous.
He's saying this is ridiculous because I feel like that's a thing that he does. Right. I feel like he's too smart of a guy to be wooed by Church Home Gobal. But he
in the palm of your hand.
In the palm of your. Here's more Judah Smith. Build, quote, real tactile relationships through the, quote, lobby of the church that you access through your phone so that you don't ever have to leave your home. And this is Derek Bushmawi being, or I just butchered the last name. He's being ironical here. You don't ever have to darken the door of an actual physical location in your own community with people who could be your real life neighbors. So Boys, what do we make of this Judah Smith Church Home Global development? I just have to say I'm a huge fan of the name. Anything with global in it is a big winner for me. That's a big corporate, huge winner.
Baby, who's the big winner?
Baby,
Church Home Global is the big winner.
Judah's the big winner. Judah wins. What do we think of this, baby? You're a man of the cloth like Judah. What do you think of this development?
I mean, if this one's so easy, I almost hate even like hitting on the, you know what I mean? It's like it's so obvious. It's so easy that, and again, it's not even new, which is this whole idea of online church. But like the way this guy's promoting it is that they like, apparently they have this station at like the home office of the church, like the main campus. And then all you have to do is log on your phone, and then people will come up to a screen and you can like connect with them like the morning of when they do their service. And so, I mean, for him to like talk about that like it's some great thing, like you don't have to leave the house. You can actually have relationships because of the person that's standing in the lobby for that 4 minutes before the service starts. And you guys can chat about what are you going to chat about?
The same crap we chat about with most people in the lobby of church. So, how's your week? How are you? I'm tired. Me too. How are the kids? That's just that stuff.
Just real tactile relationships.
So you can have your own banal chit chat via the phone in the palm of your hand. This seems revolutionary.
He's pitching it like, okay, this is what's dumb. So like we can make fun of like the whole deal about, oh, that's not real relationship. It's not tactile. I mean, all that's true. But like, I love him thinking that people are actually going to engage like that. Like that's something that people are literally going to take the time. Like you're going to walk, that's your home church. You're going to walk into the lobby and you're going to be like, hold on, I got to spend a few minutes with my friend that like lives, across the world so that we can chat before like the sermon starts, like the service starts. It's just so it's ridiculous.
It's combining like the concept of an internet cafe with church, which, to be clear, the internet cafes are things that people use in developing parts of the world where internet is not accessible everywhere. If I would like to interact with somebody via a digital device, I can do it from anywhere. I don't need to go to a station at a church to do that.
Dude,
you need an internet cafe.
I love the internet cafe idea. It's very like Jason Bourne. I feel like they were going into those in like the first Bourne movies.
Yeah, what, like 40 years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're like tracking their location. They're like, oh, they're in the internet cafe on 42nd and 3rd or whatever. And
dude, that's right. And he's
like vans convene.
The other day, and I literally, like, I'm driving through the downtown, and it literally said internet cafe.
Dude, I love it.
Big M's like, what are they talking about? You mean like my phone? Like, what do they mean?
Dude, this whole idea is very early 2000s. In that it involves the internet cafe, and it's called Church Home Global. I love this. Judah Smith is like, he's right in that early 2000s wheelhouse. Very good, very, very good.
Nothing like reinventing the obsolete in church.
Absolutely, man. We gotta
never see that. We
gotta keep our eye on this. Hang on, before we shift topics into our last one, I wanna have a look at Judah Smith here. Give me a second.
This is one of my favorite moments, is Ted Googling whoever we're talking about just to hear his aesthetic impression. These are my favorite moments.
Here's what jumps out at you about Judah Smith, and I don't have to tell you boys this. The glasses that are so deeply ironic and ugly. You know what I mean? He's wearing like the kind of aviator glasses that like your dad had in the early 80s. Except he's wearing them ironically. This is wonderful.
When in the video, his glasses were so big and so thick, I genuinely thought he was wearing like the safety goggles they give you in shop class. I was waiting for something to happen on that video with like sparks flying or sawdust or like a paintball gun or something. And nope, it's just a style, I guess.
Dude, I see him here. There's a Judah Smith picture. He's on stage and he's preaching in like a Toronto Argonauts, like Letterman's jacket. Did Judah play for the Argonauts, I wonder? In which case, I would have to become a huge fan.
I'm going to guess no.
I'm gonna guess no, given every other single thing about him. But maybe.
That seems about as likely as Ron having played for the Toronto Argonauts.
Easy, pal.
Easy. He could have been a kicker in that single bar face mask, you know?
Exactly.
Boys, I can't help but notice that when I Google image these gentlemen, that Google is encouraging me to get out and vote. And I'm reminded that there's an election going on today, and politics are in the air.
I hadn't heard.
I know, right? I hadn't heard. This was tossed out in the pre-production meeting as a potential topic. We, as a group, I think we kind of jumped on it. I'm scrolling up into my notes. Is there a way to touch on the election or anything political without being boring, or to bring a fresh take to it? And Ron said, let's try. And Piper said, I'd be interested in hearing what it's like in your places of work, respectively, among college students and churchgoers. Let's start with Big R. What is the political climate like at Substance among churchgoers? And then I'll have some things to say about college students.
Dude, I don't even know. Okay, so I don't talk about it. I don't really engage much with it. Our people they don't, so this is like small town culture. Everybody's they tiptoe around it, right?
So the last political thing you did in the pulpit was when you chopped up that Nike stuff and then lit it on fire?
Pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to figure out the lay of the land here.
Right. When I burned all the Nike, all my Nike gear that I usually.
All your Nike, all that stuff.
All my Nike gear. I put it in my Nike bag, and then I created a Nike fire, and I just burned it.
You did Nike Zippo and lit the whole thing on fire.
That's right. So I don't know that everybody's a little quiet about it, and I think, without sounding too self-important, I think that it's because I don't touch it much and I don't talk about it. So it's just not a thing. It's a non-issue. Yeah, it really is a non-issue around our parts, around our.
Interesting.
System. So I don't know.
Answer this carefully.
Way to come hard with a strong take, Big R.
Yeah. Answer this carefully so as not to throw anybody under the bus as the pastor. But do you have people in your church who try to drag politics into things, whether it's they're over for dinner or it's a small group, and they sort of turn things political?
No, but I have there's some people that want to know it's especially older people that are kind of relocating from other towns or churches, and they're like, so are you going to hand out voter guides, or are you going to do some of that kind of stuff? And so we'll get some of that, and I don't do anything like that. So there's a little bit of well, how do we inform people? And I'm like, well, there is that thing called the internet, and people can
make up their own mind. Did you just say you have an internet cafe?
Yeah, exactly. We do have it. We do it. We meet in the Substance Internet Cafe every week. But yeah, so I don't know. We get a little bit of that, and everybody's really disappointed when I tell them we just don't go there. So that's what's going on. That's the deal. That's the non-sexy answer I have for you.
Yeah, that's the non-sexiest man alive answer.
Exactly. I'm not on the list. I mean, nobody voted for me, so
Exactly. Piper, what does it look like in your workplace?
Oh, it's a don't ask, don't tell environment, and don't talk about it. I mean, you can have conversations with coworkers, but no public anything. Sure. And I mean, technically, I think you have to be really careful in any workplace, because if you are seen to be pressuring somebody or, hassling them because of their political views, that's like a fireable offense. It's discrimination of some sort. I also work in the South, in a Southern Baptist environment, so I consistently put my foot in my mouth politically.
Sure.
Because I state things as if they are fact, because I believe them to be fact about various political issues, of which I'm not going to mention specifics. And my assumption is that anybody who I'm talking to will see things somewhat similarly to me. And then, they pull out their MAGA hat and put it on. And I'm like, oh, whoops. So,
yeah,
I've learned to sort of to back off that in the workplace for the most part.
Yeah.
You're a wise man, Pipe. You're a wise man.
I'm a likes to be employed man, whether or not I'm
absolutely. Wise. I think we're all that kind of man.
There's a benefit to employment, and I've learned it, and I'd like to hold on to it.
There you go.
Let me tell you what I've learned about politics working at a college. And my students know that I don't care about politics, and we've talked about that. So the students in my program, they're comfortable with that, and they know, and I do care about it. I say I don't care about it, but that's just a hedge against being disappointed. But anyway,
the hedge against caring about it.
It's the hedge against caring about it. But there are a couple of programs at any university that you can kind of set your watch by the political environment in those programs. And to those programs, because I am white and middle-aged and straight and a Christian, I'm the devil. And it's just really interesting to see sort of the odometer click over from, like, at one point I was the young professor, you know what I mean? So I was exempt from sort of middle-aged white Christian heterosexual devildom, but like I'm strongly in that category now. Like they look at me and they're like, just another middle-aged white man, you know? And it's disappointing. I have to tell you, it's disappointing. I miss being young.
You need to get a T-shirt that says something like "white and woke" just to defend yourself to that crowd.
Dude, I don't know how to defend myself. I don't think there's any defending myself. You know,
but you can see Ted wearing one, right?
Man,
can't you just see him strolling through campus wearing a white and woke T-shirt?
Yes.
Underneath his Montreal Alouettes letter jacket.
Exactly.
I love it.
Montreal Alouettes.
Yeah, I love it. So anyway, that's my problem, boys. I can't get my head around this issue and how I'm gonna workshop this, like, persona wise, because to a certain segment of the campus, and it's really just two programs. Like I'm the white middle-aged devil, and there's nothing I can do about it.
But I mean, what? But T, hold on, man. I mean, don't you? I mean, this is like a private university, right? So aren't they?
Yes.
Aren't they all kind of leaning the same way? I mean, is it?
I think in general they're all probably leaning the same way, but I think any university anywhere, like there are a couple of departments that are going to lean the other way.
Gotcha.
And
especially at liberal arts schools, because there are cultural studies, there are more vocational studies, there are all sorts of things. So it's not like a Bible school where everybody is told, like, you must view things this way. We had the same thing at Wheaton when I was there in terms of the leanings from right to left politically and socially and things like that.
Sure. And it's one of the things that's great about the school, to be honest. Like, I wouldn't change it, but yeah, it just makes for that, like, kind of uneasy shift into, gosh, I wonder when I transitioned from, like, reasonably cool young professor to, like, white middle-aged devil. And it's a very subtle shift. I wish someone had put out, like, a pamphlet or a press release, or at least sent a memo to my office to let me know when the shift happened.
They need to, like, throw you a tweed party next time where it's like, congratulations, you've entered the ranks of bow ties. Now everybody of a certain group and age will ignore you, roll their eyes at you, or despise your viewpoints on things.
Dude, right. And they're already doing that, to be clear, but it would just be more clear if I was wearing the tweed and some of the other accoutrements of that.
Maybe Judah Smith can release a video and help you out with that, Big T.
I need to speak with Judah. I need to go to an internet cafe
and go to his glasses instead of, like, your teal framed, the glasses that you've been sporting. Like, they're a staple of the Ted look.
They are.
If you move to the safety goggle glasses, would people look at you differently?
Dude, I need to go to, like, shop class and get some safety goggles. I need to head then to the internet cafe and link up remotely with Church Home Gobal and Judah Smith so that he can give me some advice on my fashion. So that maybe next year, boys, dare to dream. Maybe I make the people sexiest evangelical reformed man alive list. I don't know. I don't want to dream too big here, but
life goals.
Yeah, these are life goals. But boys, Ron is a busy man. His dance card is full. He's back home in Ashland reacquainting himself with the community, and far be it from us to keep him from that. So, boys, we have done what we always do on this program, which is to wander to and fro throughout these topics. And until next time, Rachel the Held Evans.
The Happy Rant is brought to you by Resonate Recordings. If you go to resonaterecordings.com, you can see the full range of services they offer. So if you're considering starting a podcast, they are the ones we recommend going with. Again, go to resonaterecordings.com to see their prices, to connect with them and ask any questions, and to see what they can do to help you launch, edit, master, and improve your podcast. Again, go to resonaterecordings.com to see what they can do to help you launch and improve your podcast.